as well.
Let's see. There you are.
All right, Evan, I'm ready for you. And Instagram as well. Let's see. There you
Hey
are.
guys, let's see here.
Is there anything I have to do volume wise or to get reverb or anything? Are we good?
No, we're good. Looks like we're live on everything now. So I just need to get you into Instagram. What's your handle?
LT9, HALTSY 9.
Say that again.
HALTSY 9.
HALT.
SY9.
Say that again.
Got it. All right. So I'm inviting you right now.
HALT SY9. Say that again. Got it.
Okay.
There we go. Awesome. We are live on both. I'm going to mute my sound here. All right, Evan, can you hear me clear?
I can.
Am I good? I'm echoing.
You are echoing. Can you mute one of them?
How's this? We good now? Or am I muted?
Go again.
How we doing now? Are we good?
I can't hear you. Can you unmute the one you muted?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can hear you on this one now. There we go.
We good now?
Yep. Awesome. Everyone meet Evan. He just wrapped up his 90 days coaching with me. And really, I wanted to bring him on because he's a former athlete, played high school basketball, played college volleyball. And I think a lot of you can relate. There's some echoing going on, Evan.
Is that good now?
I think if you can get the computer muted.
We good now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, sorry, back to that. So Evan was an athlete in high school, in college, and everyone experiences that transition where now golf is like the sport you're going to play the rest of your life. But playing golf and trying to get better on your own only gets you so far, right? And so kind of walk us through what your experience was like before you started working in the Tour Proven Pathway with me.
Sure. Golf became the thing that I kind of did, the outlet. Helped I married into a very, very heavy golf family, but I would just go out and play. I mean, it was, started off, those first couple of times you start making solid contact with the ball, just with a natural athletic swing, and then you get hooked into the game. Unfortunately, that's about as far as you can progress naturally. I would watch YouTube videos, stuff like that, to try to iron out swing, but a lot of them treat symptoms versus causes. That was something Andrew and I talked about earlier. And so I would, you go out there, you would hit one good shot out of every three or so, and that would be enough to keep you coming back. But you never really progressed past that type of 33% solid contact thing. And that was what I think kind of prompted me to come to Andrew with it, was I wanted to get past that point. And part of being an athlete growing up is that we tend to treat golf like this weird hobby sport. Nobody gets to a really, really high level in any sport without like real intense instruction. Playing high school basketball, college volleyball, I was never going to get to the level I got without somebody looking at my swing or my shot and breaking it down and building it up to what it should be. There are very few people that can just rely on natural athletic ability alone to get to that point.
No, and that's a great point. And so when you say intense instruction, that's something that we want to highlight on, because traditionally, when people think of getting better at golf, if they actually do go out and invest in their game, the traditional way is to take 1 or 2 golf lessons a month. And then there's all this time in between those lessons where you're left alone to go work on the things that you remember from those lessons. But in this model that you and I work under, which I call the tour proven pathway, more access, more structure, more feedback, it kind of walk the viewers through that experience from your perspective.
Sure. It moved from, I know that a lot of people, when you go to the range, if people go to the range at all, you just kind of, it's like taking batting practice at a batting cage or whatever. You're just happy to hit shots that look like they go far, but you're not really aiming at anything. You're not really working on anything technical. You're just swinging a golf club and you're hitting a golf ball. And it's really easy to walk away feeling good about it because you weren't aiming at something. And then you end up on a fairway, you got 150 yards in and you got to hit a green. And you can't, because when you were at the range, you weren't working on aiming at a target, or you weren't working on hitting a specific shot. That was sort of the story of mine when I would go to a range. Growing up, driving ranges in the recent world, it's Top Golf. When you went to those places, you were just trying to bomb balls at back net or whatever it was you were doing. You weren't working on specific things that needed to be improved, that could be translated into an actual round of golf.
And when you think of specifically things that needed to change, well, we know that when you're on the range, what you were experiencing was you were focused on the outcome of, did I hit it solid? Did I hit it far? Which is fun, but what controls the ability to routinely hit it solid, hit it far? Well, it's the mechanics. And so now, knowing what you know in the 90 days that we work together, kind of walk people through what that looked like.
It's exactly kind of just what you said, is that the mechanism is what ends up with the result, and so if I'm hitting balls just mindlessly, you have no idea if any two shots were the same. But what you and I worked on over the last 9 days is there's specific things that I set up with, and I know that I'm going to accomplish, I'm going to achieve within my golf swing, and that's where the results will come from. And then oftentimes on the other side of it, you've given me the insight to if I am hitting a shot that I pull, and it's like, why did I pull that? Take a video of my swing, look at it, and you help me kind of point to things that's like, okay, that's why. It becomes very evident at setup, at during the swing, that I can see what I'm doing now that causes me to hit the shot, not the shot that I intend to hit.
Absolutely. And you're talking about a very, very important thing, because I call it becoming an educated golfer. That means when you're out on the golf course and you have that miss hit, you now know, because you've looked at the film, we've had discussions about when your swing does this, it elicits this response. You hit that pull. Okay. So now in the moment, you're a lot more confident to make those on-course adjustments to be able to hit a shot well on the next one, because it's not guessing.
Exactly.
And so, like I said, we've done this for 90 days. Kind of speak to where you're at. Like, what was the biggest thing that you took away from these 90 days?
The biggest thing is that I was never going to get here on my own, I guess, was the thing that I said to my wife and stuff, is that I took a lot of, in my adult life, I've taken a lot of pride in like trying to self-teach myself things, whatever, and golf was one of those things. But working with you and I never would have figured out the small little idiosyncrasies in my swing that were causing me to hit, slices or pulls or whatever, or both. And that was kind of the problem, is that I wasn't doing anything consistently. And what I learned from this 90 days was that for most people, myself included, we don't know what we're necessarily looking for. And there's not a lot of everything you find that's generic on the internet that you're going to try to look up and fix my swing with this or that. It's watered down. It's least common denominator. And so unless the thing you're doing wrong is the same exact thing that 50 million other people are doing wrong, you're probably not going to fix what's ailing your swing, because you're not treating the actual symptom.
Wow. I couldn't have said that better myself, Evan. That is exactly what it is. So there's all these great drills and programs online that are what I would just call cookie cutter. And you're exactly right. If you're not that exact person with that exact problem, one, it's not even relevant. But two, if you don't put in the work and do it correctly, and you don't know if you're doing it right or wrong, the chances that you stick with it and actually get the transformation you're looking for are so low, which is why those programs are so cheap, but also the results are what they are. So what would you say to someone sitting on the other side? They've never gone through this program. They are a former athlete, or they're just wanting to get better at golf. Like, what would you tell them?
I mean, I would ask him the same thing kind of that I led off with this video, is that if you want to get to the point where you're someone that's not just content shooting 96 or whatever, and you want to actually shoot good scores and get to the level that you would have gotten to in your other sports that you played in your life, you're going to have to actually break down film and look at what we did to fix the problems. You never got, like I said, I didn't get to be a proficient basketball player without instruction. I could have spent a million hours of my childhood out there just trying to figure out how to shoot a basketball, and it would have never gotten to the point where it did with just a small amount of actual coaching. And that's sort of what we did here. 90 days isn't a long time in the grand scheme of like everything. And if golf is that sport that people want to play for most of their life, I think 90 days is a worthwhile investment of time to put into this, to kind of teach yourself how to fix the things that are wrong.
Yeah, I know. And you're exactly right. 90 days isn't a lot. It's a lot and it's not a lot. It's weird because if you've never gone all in on your own game plan to improve your golf swing, going and hitting range balls, a large bucket of range balls for 90 days, you would think you would get better. But guess what? If you don't have a game plan, you don't have feedback, the chances are very slim. That's just the reality. Otherwise, golfers would be a lot better. And look, you're a former athlete and you're shaking your head, yes, being like, yeah, that was me, right? So what you experienced was an accelerated process, because it's not like I threw 100 game plans at you in 90 days. That's also probably a big misconception. It's like, no, you need to do this one thing and you need to do this one thing well. And once you do this one thing well, guess what? We can build upon it, and we can build upon it. It's a foundation with no cracks, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to the time commitments of it, I found that, like you said, the large bucket of balls, throughout this program, I never bought a large bucket of balls. There's the idea of that is, you gave me a very specific thing to work on. We would check in and it'd be, okay, this is the very specific thing I want you to work on. Oftentimes that's addressed in a small bucket of balls, maybe a medium bucket of balls, I don't know, but the translatability of everywhere, the same size bucket. But the idea is it's a very specific thing that you're working on, and you're trying to master that one thing. So oftentimes you can get to that point, and then after that, you're just fatigued hitting golf balls and probably going to fall back into old habits. So you want to always end on the good shot. And that's where you would give me my thing. I would get to that point and then I would stop, because it was like, that was the feeling that I want to remember before the next session.
Man, that takes me back to my basketball days. I always finished on a make, always. So, Evan, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of people that are out there frustrated, putting in the work, but not getting the result that they're looking for. And, I think Evan had a lot of good things to say. The reality is, look, guys, if you want to get better, you need a game plan customized to you, and then you're going to need a lot of access to the coaching. There's a big difference between taking lessons with large gaps of time and actually truly having a coach there with you every step of the way. And Evan is a perfect example of where you can go in a short time period like 90 days. Evan, thank you again for sharing your story, and we'll be in touch very soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.